Hi everyone, I'm Molly Crampton and I'm a senior here at Camden Catholic. I just want to welcome you all to Camden Catholic's Inside Student Perspective. Before we jump in, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a member of student government. I'm the student government president currently, and in the past I've been involved in the publicity aspect of student government. I'm a green and white ambassador, which is the student ambassadors of Camden Catholic. So we help out with the open houses and events such as that. I've also been given the privilege to be a project manager this year, in which we group together to plan projects for the rest of Green and White and to promote the school in general. I'm also a Link Crew commissioner, which is the freshman orientation. I'm a part of Cathedral Scholars, which is a selective honours programme at Camden Catholic in which we participate in unique activities and we get to go on very cool trips. I'm also part of the NHS Executive Board and I'm a part of the swim team, which started today, which I'm very excited about. I also volunteer a lot at Cathedral Kitchen and a lot of my friends play other sports other than swimming. So I love going to support them in their games and matches. Because the school spirit at Camden Catholic is so amazing. I love to be a part of that. I'm hoping I get to go to a few more things throughout the year. We'll see how things go, but I'm very excited for the rest of my senior year. And now I'd like to introduce Crystal, who will tell you a little bit about herself. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, I'm Crystal Wynn. I'm a senior here at Camden Catholic, and I went to St. Joan of Arc School. Some things I'm involved in are dance team, where we perform at football games and basketball games. I'm the social senator for student government, so I plan things like prom and our male beauty pageant, Mr. CCHS. I'm the vice president of service for our National Honor Society, so I create service projects for all of the school. I'm in Rebel, which is a club that promotes anti-smoking habits. I'm in the Lemon Club, which raises money for Alex's Lemonade Stand and awareness for pediatric cancer. I'm also in Green and White, which is the student ambassador program that Molly spoke about. I'm in Link Crew, which is the freshman orientation. And I'm in Cathedral Scholars, which is an honors program for people who take 4 or more honors and AP classes. And now for Joe.
Hi, guys. I'm Joseph Giegerick. I'm a senior this year, and I come from St. Mary of the Lakes School. I am in Cathedral Scholars, boys soccer and swimming. I'm in National Honor Society. I am the executive service senator for the student government, where we help run service projects, helping people in and out of our communities. And I also am in investment club, where we learn the basics of the stock market. And I'm in Link Crew. And now to Jack.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Jack. I'm a senior at Camden Catholic. I come from St. Joan of Arc School, just like Crystal. I am part of the boys lacrosse team. I'm also part of Green and White, which is a student ambassador program. Link Crew, which is the freshman orientation program. Cathedral Scholars, like Crystal talked about, how you take 4 more honors classes and we take cool trips and stuff like that. And I'm also part of National Honor Society as well. And I'm part of the investment club, just like Joe, too.
Okay, now we're going to talk about a few of our clubs and activities that you can get involved in at Camden Catholic. So we have such a wide range of clubs and activities, as you can see, that suits such a wide range of different students' interests. I have personally participated in activities with Habitat for Humanity Club, in which I've gone to help build a home over the summer during my sophomore year, and it was such an amazing experience. I'd also like to point out CCTV. This is a group of students who get together in the studio and live stream announcements every morning at Camden Catholic. You have the kids who facilitate the show as well as the kids behind the scenes. So it's a really great thing to get involved in. And lastly, I'd like to point out the council. That's another great one. It stands for Together Honoring Everyone, and it organizes projects to encourage diversity. So we have lots of great clubs here.
And I'm here to talk about the arts program. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm on dance team. We perform at every home football game and basketball season, the regular basketball season. And you can be involved in a ton of different aspects of the arts, whether it's performing, choir, band. So you have big performances like our fall play and our spring musical, or some smaller performances with less commitment and a smaller audience like the Actors Guild and Shakespeare troupe. And then there's, as I said, band and choir, so you can help with the plays or at the football games. And we have an arts weekend here where every aspect of the arts shows off in a showcase that highlights each group of the arts. And we get to perform in front of each other, and there's food, and it's a lot of fun. And personally, my favorite part about the arts is it's a community within the bigger Camden Catholic family. And you're normally involved in more than just one aspect of the arts.
I'm here to talk about the honor societies. These are different groups that some of them you apply for and some you get inducted into based on your grades and academic achievements. For something such as the Cathedral Scholars, a lot of incoming freshmen, you will learn about it if you are taking 4 or more honors courses for your next year. And in something like that, what we do is we have, I think, bi-weekly meetings, and we discuss certain projects, certain academic things that we do that are extracurricular. And on top of that, we every year have an annual Cathedral Scholars trip where we go to a museum or to some sort of experience. And afterwards, we always like to find ourselves at Reading Terminal. It's like a little Camden Catholic tradition, and it's a really great experience, and it's a good group of people to find yourself in, and it's a good way to meet new people and new friends. And in addition to that, you also have National Honor Society, which is kind of like the big range of honor societies all grouped into one. And for that, you apply for it your junior year, and it's nationally recognized, and it's an honor to be inducted into that.
So I'm here to talk about a little more about athletics. We have many different athletic programs, both boys and girls, JV and varsity. Some of the sports that I'm involved in is lacrosse. I played football my freshman year, and I also swam for a year too. So one of the good things about freshmen is that the freshmen or the teams don't cut. So that's one main aspect to the freshman teams and stuff like that. Some teams have freshman teams. Other you're just placed on JV or varsity depending on talent and skill level. And like Molly said, going to all the games and stuff like that, it's really just a different experience altogether. It's a truly awesome experience, honestly. I remember my freshman year, I went to all the football games, and they were just electric every time, with the band playing and the football team playing. It was a different experience.
Yeah, so as you can tell, all students here at Camden Catholic, everyone's involved. I'd say 100% of the students, in fact, that is a fact, 100% of students are involved in something at Camden Catholic. It's just such an inclusive environment, and as you can tell, there's something for everyone, and we're all loving it so far. It's sad that it's our last year, but looking forward to what the future holds. So now we're going to take a few of your questions that you've asked us. Okay, first question. How do you get involved in clubs and activities? So we do have an activity fair during lunches towards the beginning of the year. It's kind of circled around the lunchroom, so students are able to walk around, take a look at the clubs, talk to members of the clubs, and sign up there and then for clubs and activities that they'd like to be a part of. So yeah, it's very easy to get involved.
And in addition to that, you can join most clubs at any point of the year. Like this year I joined Ethics Club, and they had already been together for 4 months. And I kind of just showed up one day and asked them if I could join, and they said, sure. And I said, hooray. So a lot of the clubs are pretty lenient, and it's not super strict on whether you want to join. Like freshman year, I joined video game club, found out I'm horrible at video games, and I left. And you can do whatever. There's always something that you'll find that you love.
Yeah, during my freshman year, I've always been very intrigued about student government, but I didn't really want to put myself out there too much. So I joined student government. I was just in the cabinet. I helped out with the behind the scenes type stuff. And then it gave me enough confidence to run for publicity senator for my sophomore year. So that was a really great experience.
My freshman year, I joined Rebel because the leader of the club was one of my freshman teachers, and she encouraged us to join. And I said, why not? And I've stuck with it for 4 years now. So
yeah, some things I did my freshman year. I played football. Obviously, I suck at football, but I played lacrosse all my 4 years. And I joined also Model UN, one of our clubs, freshman year, and I found out that I'm not a great speaker as well.
All right, next question is there such thing as joining too many clubs? Is it overwhelming? I'd say that's really a personal decision if it's too much. It's at Camden Catholic, it's really up to you how much you want to commit yourself to, or if you just want to stick to your schoolwork, your studies. It's really however flexible you want to be with it. I'd say maybe there could be a point where you join too many and it could become a little bit overwhelming. But if that is the case, it's so easy to take a step back and decide where you want to focus your commitments. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes, I agree completely. I'd say there's only too many clubs if it's something that you can't handle. For the most part, like all of us are in, I'd say up to 6 clubs, and it's no problem. But that being said, you do learn about yourselves during your freshman year, especially. You learn how much you can handle, what your academic rigor is, and you're able to kind of bounce between that and figure out that happy medium for yourself.
Definitely.
All right, next question. Is there any cost involved in clubs or sports? There is no cost to participate in any clubs or sports, but there might be an additional cost for apparel for sports teams, or if you're going on a trip for your club or something like that. So there might be costs, but nothing mandatory that you have to pay.
Yeah, for soccer this year, there was no mandatory cost, but we always, and for football and dance and all of the sports, there's always gear that they give out every year that you can buy. And like, since my freshman year, I've been buying the soccer gear, but this year I wanted to save some more of my money, and I chose to opt out of it.
Yeah, for dance team, I know we take a field trip to Center City to perform at Christmas Village during the Christmas season, so we do have to pay to get our bus.
Yeah, so some of the things, it's not really for lacrosse, it's you have to buy the gear, but other than that, it's a very low cost sport. All the sports are.
And just something to add about, before we jump to this next question, something to add about being involved in so much. It really is an advantage to be so involved, such as us as students, because it makes us feel so much more part of the community. Like, I know as freshmen, coming in, it's a little bit intimidating to put yourself out there, but it's definitely something I don't regret, because it helped me to feel so much more included in the Camden Catholic community overall.
Yeah, and with those clubs, you really grow up and you become a mature young adult. And with that, you build very strong relationships with your teachers and with your peers, and it just helps you overall grow as a person.
And I'd say it's like one big opportunity to meet people that aren't in your grade. So if you're incoming freshman, there's seniors, juniors, sophomores. So it's just a mix of everyone. So
yeah, something about sports was if you do a fall sport, a lot of them have summer workouts, and you get to meet a lot of incoming freshmen and upperclassmen during those. So that's a good aspect of both sports and other clubs too.
For student government, do you have to have certain grades or qualifications? You definitely have to meet a certain grade. You cannot be failing your classes. It is a very rigorous commitment, depending on what level you are committed to. For example, in order to run for an elected position, you do need to have good grades. You can't be failing any classes, or you can be kicked off of student government if it gets to a certain point. But it really isn't difficult to keep on top of. I'd say it's a very rigorous club, but it's also a very flexible club, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and with clubs that have grade qualifications, such as Cathedral Scholars and student government, you don't do poorly in a class and get kicked out of the club immediately. You have people help you, and you seek out things such as NHS tutoring to help bring your grade up. So it's not, so if that's a fear of yours, it's not something to fear, because there's always ways to get your grade back up to remain in the club. It's nothing to worry about.
I think it's very rare for people to get kicked out for their grades because it's so easy to, jump back up. How do you balance academics with club commitment? How often do clubs and activities meet? So balancing academics with clubs, it's pretty easy actually, depending on the club. Most clubs I'd say meet once a week, usually during homeroom or after school hours. So especially now they're still meeting over Zoom. So that's a plus. Clubs aren't, non-existent during the pandemic. How often do they meet? It really depends on the club. For example, me being a part of executive government as president of student government, Joe and I,
Every day.
Yeah, we have meetings every single day. So it depends on the level of commitment which that club asks of you. And before signing up for it, you are aware of how much commitment you're going to have to be bringing to the table.
Yeah, and along with finding that balance is you learn to prioritize your clubs. And even though that's not something like you put off all of your clubs and just focus on one, it's different timings. So during the soccer season, I wouldn't go to ethics. And I spoke to the club moderator, Mr. Hoover, and I said, listen, like, soccer's my priority because I've made a 4-year commitment to them. And he said, that's totally fine. And, that's how it is. That's how you learn to balance your academics. Part of it is speaking to your teachers and moderators and working with them to figure out what works best for you.
And one thing that the rector of Camden Catholic, Father Joe, always says is God and grades. Those are the things that every student should put first. So if you are struggling in your classes as a result of being involved in too much, just take a step back and focus on your grades. That's what we're taught to do. And that's helped everyone I've known at Camden Catholic so far. So I think that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
When are clubs held? Okay. Crystal, do you
Yeah. Clubs are held either during our activity period, which is during homeroom, or after school. So if you can do Zoom or you can be in person. So you're never missing out, especially this year. But it's about once a week too. So there's always time for you to come to your meetings. And if not, you can always talk to the moderator, and your friends will catch you up, or the moderator will have notes and they'll send them to you. So it's really easy to attend clubs.
Yeah, same with sports. It's most of them are after school. Most practices are after school, and all coaches are very grade oriented first. So if you're not doing well in a class, the coach will speak to you about it. It's not going to go over their heads or get slipped under the mat at all like that. The grades come first. That's all. The most important part about being a student athlete is the student part. That's why it comes first. So that's for sports. Yeah, those are main goals.
And I do feel like I've noticed at Camden Catholic in particular, our moderators of clubs and sports coaches, they're all just so overall like very understanding of each individual student. So even if it isn't grade oriented, your issue, if it's like a personal issue, they're so understanding and they'll help you get caught back up to where you want to be. They'll help you reach your goals. So I think that's something that we really take pride in as a school and that I'm very proud of. Do you have to audition for the dance team? Crystal, I'll send that over to you.
We have summer auditions. We normally have 2 in case you can't make the first one, and then we have a callback. So there's 3 in all, but the third one's a callback, and it's normally late August to early August, I'd say. But yeah, so you do have to audition, but there are plenty of spots available. We're opening it up. We're making it bigger than it is in the past couple of years, so it's always a great time. I love going to the auditions, seeing everyone. It's like a little reunion before you go back into the season.
How many clubs are merit scholars required to join? To be completely honest, you're not required to join any clubs. You are automatically a part of Cathedral Scholars, which I talked about as a very competitive honors program at Camden Catholic. I definitely recommend being a part of that club. I think you have to be in 4 or 5 honors classes in order to be a part of that, whether you're a merit scholar or not. But that's a really great experience. We don't meet too often, but it does give you great opportunities that really stand out to the rest of the student body. And as Joe talked about, we get to go on really great trips. Hopefully we get to go on one this year with everything going on. Yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, you're not required to join any, except maybe Cathedral Scholars, which you're automatically a part of anyway.
And congratulations on being a Merit Scholar.
I think we all are, actually.
Yeah, are we all?
Yeah.
I think so.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Well, you're in Cathedral Scholars, so that's
Yeah.
Do teachers make themselves available for extra help? Absolutely. Joe,
Yeah.
do you see that?
So every teacher makes themselves available for extra help. Something that I think you'll need to hear if you're going into high school is that it's not like grade school where your teachers will seek you out and find you and say, like, you need extra help. It is up to you. If you think you need extra help, you need to be the one to find the teacher and ask for their time. And it's very important to do that. I have gone to extra help for physics especially, and the teacher was always there, and she was always such a big help for me whenever I needed her. So it's important, if you do need extra help, though, is to take it upon yourself to get it.
Yeah. And then we also have like NHS tutoring, so you can have a student help you. But I'd say the teachers are always willing. Like, I've had lunch with a teacher before, and they've helped me with Algebra 2 and made me prepare for a test. So.
Are you allowed to bring your own devices like computers to school? Yes, you are. Especially this year, everyone is actually required to bring their laptops to school. If for whatever reason you don't have one, we do have computers and laptops in the information commons, which are available to students to use for the day. This way, we're trying to shift everything to more electronic and less textbooks. We do still use textbooks because I am particularly a student that enjoys reading from a textbook rather than on a screen. But yes, absolutely, you're definitely encouraged to bring your own devices to school, especially under the current conditions. Can you participate in sports and do the play also? Do one of you want to take that?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, you got it.
If you want. So we actually had a senior last year who was in I believe it was the spring musical, because it was during the lacrosse season. So after practice, he would go to rehearsal, and he would and he would do that as well. So yeah, it's a good thing. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it unless you like to stay at school late, because I know the rehearsals go late. So if you have practice, you're going to be pretty wiped and very tired for your rehearsal when you should be pretty much on your A game. But yeah, it's definitely possible. It is. Yeah.
And there are multiple plays and 3 sports seasons. So
yeah,
they're not always going to be conflicting. If you want to do a fall sport and the spring play, those will have no conflict at all. And it's
it just happened to be like
easy.
that last year. Yeah,
I know a lot of the swim girls are also do
the swim guys last year did it too. Yeah.
The coaches are so understanding. They'll tell you, okay, this is practice just in time for you to head back to rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say basketball and wrestling in particular are a little bit harder since they go pretty deep into playoffs, but it's 100% doable. For example, I was on the lacrosse team and I wanted to do props for the spring play. So I wasn't necessarily on stage, but I was kind of doing the backstage designing and stuff like that. And it was completely doable. Like everyone said here, my coach was completely understanding that I had other commitments elsewhere. So
yeah, it's really just about like time management. If you're dedicated enough, you'll find a way to do it. So. What if there is a time conflict for 2 or more of the club's activity sports you join? Do the clubs coordinate with each other to prevent that? I believe there is a little bit of coordinating to make sure that there's no overlapping, but there definitely is overlapping some places. So that's really up to you to, again, weigh up your options, make sure you're not overloading your plate with the things you're getting involved in. For example, obviously you can't play 2 spring sports during the spring season because that would just be too overwhelming and they'd conflict way too much.
So yeah, it really depends on the club, sport, activity. I'd recommend maybe before you join a club or activity and you have a feeling something else might be overlapping with it, talk to the moderators, talk to the coaches, just try and get an idea of the schedule so you know what's going to be expected of you.
Yeah, that's where it comes to prioritizing too. So for example, a lot of student government meetings and investment club meetings have overlapped this year in particular. In other years, it never happened. But many times I've had to prioritize student government because that affects the student body as a whole. And investment club is more of just a personal thing for me. So I can do that on my own time. And I focus on student government kind of as one of my top priorities.
And we do have a vice principal of the clubs and activities, so they help organize and schedule the club meetings to try and avoid those conflicts. But again, it's not necessarily always going to be, perfectly set in stone. Everything's going to be, have its own time slot. There might still be some overlaps.
And even before you sign up for clubs, they tell you on the list, like what day they normally meet, so you can plan out ahead of time and accordingly.
How would you get involved to help others through NHS? Sorry, it's worded funny.
Can you pick a specific subject?
Can you pick a specific subject?
Yes.
Or Crystal, if you want, or Joe.
So I am the vice president of NHS. So we run a lot of tutoring opportunities and you sign up for your strength. So if I'm not that great at English, I'm not going to choose to tutor English. I'm going to stick with math. So you pick your strongest subjects and then you set up an individual one-on-one Zoom meeting. And then you get help with whatever subjects you need or whatever topics or to prepare for a test, to make sure you know everything, do a review.
And members of NHS are selected during your junior year, I believe. So it is only senior members. So that's the only way you can get involved to help others. That doesn't mean you can't. You're, of course, welcome to come and be helped by us, but you do have to be a senior and be selected to be a part of NHS in order to help others. What if I am involved in things outside of school, but I want to also be in things inside the school? That's completely doable. Again, that comes down to your own schedule, your own priorities, figuring out your time management skills. I feel like coming into Camden Catholic, I've been very involved outside of school and inside of school. But it really taught me how to, find where my priorities stand, figure out my time management skills, which I know are going to carry me through my college career and through the rest of my life. In normal years, most clubs meet during the day, during activity period. So that doesn't really conflict with things that might be going on outside of school during your schedule. But again, it really comes down to you and your own personal schedule.
Yeah. For example, I'd just like to answer that question with saying that I work 3 days a week and I play club soccer twice a week during the school week. And I still have time for my school clubs and the activities I'm involved in with school. So that's nothing to worry about. That just comes down to you planning out your week, figuring out what you need to do, and just going for it and just getting after it.
Definitely.
Can you try out for sports as a freshman, and how hard is it to get selected in that specific sport? So I believe most sports do have a freshman team. So even if you don't make the JV or varsity, you are given the privilege to be a part of the freshman team.
Yeah, and a lot of the sorry, Molly, the freshman team or the teams don't have cuts. So trying out as a freshman, you will be on the team. Obviously, as you progress higher and higher in your skill level and your talent level and stuff like that, you'll be considered for junior varsity or varsity. But yeah, there's no cuts for teams. So if you wanted to play football, if you want to play lacrosse, that you can totally do it.
Yeah, the skill levels are all over the boards, which is very good because you will always have someone that's kind of matching with your skill level. For guys sports, at least, normally the wrestling team and the basketball team are two of our top competitors. So I would say that would be the hardest and the most difficult to get on a varsity team freshman year. But there's still a chance. And at the same time, there are kids coming on the wrestling team who have never played before and on the basketball team who have never played before. And they have a great time and a great experience and they make the team. So I wouldn't let that worry you. And I would just kind of go for it if you want to try a sport. And if not, you can try another sport.
And again, just to add to that, that really comes down to putting yourself out there as a freshman. That's definitely something you want to do. Are there certain clubs that aren't open to freshmen? I don't believe so, other than the selective clubs such as NHS and Cathedral Scholars, which is selective based on your stance in honors classes and such, even though they do accept freshmen. But I believe most clubs do accept freshmen.
Green and White Society is also
that's Green and White and Link Crew.
Some of those are just for upperclassmen, though.
So Green and White, you apply during your sophomore year to be a part of it for your junior and senior year. So yeah, some clubs you do have to kind of like audition for as you progress through your years at Camden Catholic, but most clubs coming in as a freshman will give you a wide variety.
Yeah, and Link Crew and Green and White are for the freshmen. Like, we are the people that help you guys as you progress. So that's not something you would be interested in because we're showing you the ropes. So, but any club that you would possibly be interested in, you can join it.
And you can always there's always more clubs coming, and if you have a spark, you can always I want to create this club. I know they made a K-drama club this year just because they wanted to see if other people would join, and it happened. So
yeah, that's a big thing. If you have an interest that isn't available for you at Camden Catholic, you can just start your own club. That's the beauty of it. It's so flexible. How many students are in the school? How many in the freshman class this year? So we do have around 700 students in the whole school. The freshman class this year is about 180 students. So it's not too big, not too small. There's enough students for you to kind of have a wide range of people you're meeting every day. I sometimes see people I've never seen before in the school, which I find amazing. And it's also small enough for you to, get an idea of who everyone is, find your group of friends, and just have that real great sense of community throughout all of your years at school. Okay, this is going to be our last question for freshmen. Okay, we definitely have a ton of tips for freshmen. My biggest tip would be, as I've kind of mentioned before, get involved as soon as you possibly can, because I was very reserved my freshman year, which is surprising as I'm involved in so much now as a senior. I do regret not putting myself out there as much as I would have liked as a freshman, because as soon as I stepped out of my comfort zone and started getting involved in things that suited my interests, things that I'd never tried before, I started to kind of find myself as a person and find where I fit in the school, in the community, and in the whole world pretty much. So it's definitely a big step to put yourself out there. Don't think twice about it. Just step out of your comfort zone, try something new, or stick to the things you already know. Just, get involved however you can.
I would have to say, and some of you may not want to hear this, and when I was coming in, I didn't want to hear it, but get ready to work hard. That would probably be my best tip, because I was kind of lazy freshman year and my grades weren't so hot. But then once I kind of got over it and was ready to work hard, and I came to school every day ready to go and did all my sports and I was ready to go, you really grow, and you see that. You want to graduate high school being a young adult. You don't want to graduate high school being a kid. So that's why my biggest tip would just be get ready to work hard, and every single day give it in your all, and it'll start to come back and you'll benefit from it.
I would say find what works for you, because if you're just following your friends or seeing what other people are doing, it might not be the way that you want to be as a high school student. You want to get involved, as Molly said. I would not talk to anyone freshman year. I was so quiet, but now that I'm involved, I love going to more clubs and every sports game. So just get involved and find what works for you, because it makes high school easier when you know.
Yeah, one of my big things that I wasn't so great at my freshman year was time management. And every year you get a Camden Catholic little planner. Some people use it, some people don't. Some people just use it to write in or doodle in or whatever. But that's just one thing about time management that helped me over my years. I can tell you that time management, kind of fitting everything in the right time frame is big.
And just to add what everyone said, high school really is what you want to make of it. Camden Catholic in particular has so much to offer for such a wide range of interests, but it is really down to you to put yourself out there and find what interests you will be interested in pretty much. So again, high school is what you make of it. You really want to try your best to make the most of it. The 4 years absolutely fly by. I cannot believe we're all seniors already. But I do feel that I personally have made the best of my high school experience. And that's what I want for all incoming freshmen, just to feel by the time they're a senior at Camden Catholic that they really did make the most of their 4 years, because it really truly does fly by.
So a huge part of high school is what happens after high school. And Camden Catholic is preparing you for college and preparing us for college. So I would like to start by talking about some schools I applied to. I've been accepted into Jefferson University, Arcadia University, University of Scranton, and Seton Hall University, all with guaranteed seats in their DPT programs, so their Doctorate of Physical Therapy programs. And I'm still waiting to hear back from Dartmouth for neurology and the United States Air Force Academy. And Camden Catholic has prepared me, so that's why I just wanted to let you guys know.
Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay. So I have just received all of my accepted letters back. I've applied to 8 schools and got accepted to all 8, which with all scholarships too. I have Rutgers, Delaware, Maryland, St. Joseph University, LaSalle. So I have a wide range of schools, and I don't know which one I want to go yet, but I'm so excited.
Some of the schools I applied to, I accepted to, Seton Hall, Temple, and then I am also waiting to hear back from, I also got accepted to Penn State as well. And I am waiting to hear back from University of North Carolina and Rutgers.
And I've been accepted to St. Joe's. Like Crystal, I've applied to a lot. I probably won't be able to name them all, but I have been accepted to St. Joe's, Monmouth, Loyola Maryland, Jefferson, and Villanova, where I'm going to be majoring in bio at one of those, or one of the ones that I haven't been accepted to yet. So yeah, it's a very long process, but I'm very excited about what the future holds. Okay, so do any of you have anything else to add before we close up? No? Okay, well, thank you so much for joining, everyone. We really hope you learned a ton about life at Camden Catholic, and we hope to hear from you soon, or hopefully see you soon in person. Here's a short video to give you a little bit more of an insight into life at Camden Catholic. Thank you, everyone.